All right, class, let's pick up with chapter 12. This is your endocrine system. Now, let's go over the anatomy and the terminology of the endocrine system. Now, the endocrine system is comprised of a ductless glands that produce various hormones and secrete them directly into the blood circulatory system. The hormones regulate many body functions, including growth, development, mood, metabolism, and tissue function. Now, a part of the endocrine system that we want to talk about next is the thyroid, and it controls how quickly your body uses energy and makes protein and determines how sensitive your body will be to other hormones. Now, that thyroid gland, if you can see right here on our diagram, let me get it back up here. Here's your thyroid gland right here. And that thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland. It has composed of two wings or lobes on either side of your trachea, connected by the isthmus located over the trachea. Okay? And there's the isthmus, and these are your thyroids right here, y'all. Either side of your trachea. Now, there are 4 parathyroid glands embedded in the posterior surface of the thyroid gland that maintains the body's calcium level for proper functioning of the nervous and muscular systems. Then the next structure that you need to know is you have the thymus. Your thymus produces thymosin, which simulates T lymphocytes or T cells. And y'all know what our T cells are very, very important for in fighting production when you come from, when you have the HIV infection, you know, they do a T cell count to see how many cells that the thymus is still producing, okay? So you have, this is the gland that is composed of 2 identical lobes and usually shrink after puberty. By adulthood, it is replaced by fat, but continues to produce T cells. So after puberty, it continues to produce T cells, but it shrinks down. Now, each of your adrenal glands is composed of 2 portions. You have the adrenal cortex, or the outer portion, and the medulla, the inner portion. Then the next thing that we want to talk about is the pancreas. The pancreas performs both endocrine and exocrine digestive functions. You have your islet of Langerhans, and this is in your pancreatic islets of the pancreas, and it produces the hormone insulin and glycogen to regulate your blood sugar levels. The next structure that we want to talk about in the endocrine system is the carotid body. Now, the carotid body is located at the bifurcation of the common carotid artery, and it contains some glandular tissue and serves as the primary oxygen sensor to help regulate the breathing and your blood pressure in a human body. The next structure that we want to talk about is the pituitary gland. I came down a little bit too far. Now, here. Now, your pituitary gland, it is a gland that has 2 lobes, the anterior and the posterior. The pituitary is also called the master gland because it regulates a wide variety of functions within the human body, from growth to metabolism to the milk production and the uterine contractions in a pregnant woman. Then you have the pineal gland. This is also called the pineal body, and it produces the hormone melatonin, and which modulates wake and sleep cycle patterns and seasonal functionings, and serotonin that acts as a neurotransmitter or a vasoconstrictor. Okay, let's move on down into the nervous system, you all. Now, your nervous system is comprised of 2 parts. You have your brain and your spinal cord, which is found in your central nervous system. Okay, that's your central nervous system, is your brain and your spinal cord. Then you have the remaining network of nerves running throughout the body, and this is going to be your peripheral nervous system. So make sure, I think when we went over this system, we had this, and it goes back over the information, you all. So repetition helps you to learn. Here are some structures in the nervous system: the cervical plexus, the brachial plexus, the lumbar plexus, the sacral plexus, the solar coccygeal plexus. Okay, make sure you know what those are. You can go back and write those down. The spinal cord has spinal cord and the spine have three main functions. Now, the first one is to serve as a conduit for modal information. It travels down the spinal cord to the muscles. That's the first function. The second function is to serve as a conduit for sensory information that travels up the spinal cord to the brain. And the third function is to serve as the center for coordinating a number of reflexes. Okay, those are the three main functions of that central nervous system. Now, you all, these structures again are found in your texts or your CPT manuals. Make sure you know where it's found. A good place to make your notes. Here is your brain. So if you have your lobes of your brain, remember, just like when we talked about those sinuses, you have a right and a left lobe. Trick question: how many lobes of the brain are there? Okay, so you see here you have a temporal lobe, you have a frontal lobe, you have a parietal lobe, you have an occipital lobe. Okay, but you have a right and left one, you all. Make sure y'all remember that. That's a trick question, whether they do it with the sinuses or whether they do it with the lobes of the brain. Okay, make sure you're sharp on that one, because that is a trick question, and I can see them saying that one. Also, in the endocrine system, you all remember your diabetes is found in your endocrine system. Make sure you remember, when coding diabetes, always code the diabetes portion of the code first, and any manifestation that the diabetes has caused is always coded secondary. So if you have diabetic neuropathy 250.60, and then you code in the slanted brackets that 357.2 for the neuropathy portion of that code, y'all. Make sure you remember that, because sometimes they'll put that neuropathy portion of that code first. That's wrong. You cannot do that. You're not telling the proper story. Remember, coding is telling a story. If you take anything out of sequence in the story is not being told right, so it is wrong. All right, meningitis, diabetes mellitus, sleep and organ dysfunction symptoms. Make sure y'all can just go back, refamiliarize yourself with some of these things. All right. Okay. So these are some CPT or some types of surgeries you will code in this different system. Okay. They are self-explanatory once you get on the test. Cerebral spinal fluid shunts, injection and drainage or aspiration, laminectomies. Make sure you go back, read over those things. These are chapter specific, so in your CPT manual, make notes, make notes, make notes. Okay. And we want to go down to our modifiers found in this section, you all. Modifier 22, 24, 25, 26, technical component modifiers, 54, 55, 56, 50, 57, 52, 53, 58, 59, 79, RT, LT, of course. Modifier 62. Glossary. Make sure you're familiarize yourself with the different terms that you will see in this section. Make sure any of these things that you do not remember and you don't know what they are, in the CPT section, in your neurological section of your CPT book, is where you would make those notes. And of course, you have your chapter review quizzes if you would like to go back and review these questions. Here they are. These are a simulation of some of the questions and the way they may be written on the test. So I do suggest, if at all possible, you go back and do those, okay? That's a long one right here, you all. That reminds me of when I was doing the test. We had long scenarios. They're not as long as they used to be, which is good for you all. We will pick up with chapter 13 in just a minute.